We're here with Joe and Kathleen of Joe Photo and Atmosphere Aerosol, and today they're going to tell us a little bit about themselves, their business, their photography business, and Atmosphere Aerosol, how they came up with it, and where it's going. So, Joe and Kathleen, can you introduce yourself? I guess tell me a little bit about who you are and how Joe Photo got started, how you guys met and turned this into a business together, and then we'll go from there.
We'll let the spokeswoman speak.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah, well, I'm Kathleen.
And I'm Joe of Joe Photo. And we started doing wedding photography in about 2008. Before that, I worked for a full-service ad agency. We shot everything from television commercials and films and print work too. But then I met Kathleen, and she wanted to make a business out of doing weddings because I was doing it on the side. And she said, we should make a go at this for ourselves. And she made a website and started doing some marketing because her background is in public relations and marketing. She has her master's degree.
Yeah, so when we met, I was working for a healthcare company doing marketing and PR. My background, I've worked for other places doing like special events and event planning, and so it was just a really good fit. And so he was doing what he was doing. I was like, well, you know, we could try this, and I could make some packages and see what. I mean, I didn't know anything about photography at the time, but he did, and he didn't know a lot about marketing and PR at the time, but I did. So it worked together, and then so our first year, I couldn't believe it. We, booked some weddings and got the ball rolling, and now, 8 years later, we've shot over like 300 weddings, and we average about 50 weddings per year that we photograph, and so the business is just rocking along. And then Atmosphere Aerosol kind of came into play, and I'll let you tell them a little bit about that.
Yeah, Atmosphere started when we were just really. I'm always experimenting because my filmmaker background, so I'm always trying to get more out of the photos, trying to enhance them however I can. I've thrown dirt in the air. I've kicked dirt around in barns, to make the light rays come through the side of the barn. I've carried fog machines around and plugged them into Vagabond Mini, Paul Buff Vagabond Minis. So I said there's got to be an easier way to create some light rays and get some smoke and haze. And we started doing some research, and just one thing led to another, and we kept getting the answer yes. So eventually we had to either do it or not do it. So we did it, and Atmosphere is doing really well, and we're just trying to keep up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys are shipping nationwide, worldwide. How's that?
We're nationwide right now.
Yeah.
We're expanding into other countries very soon.
Okay.
We're working on a French label for Canada. We're going to Singapore. We have a friend over there that's going to distribute. And then the UK is next. So it's
And then Australia.
Yeah.
All those Aussies, they really, really want some Atmosphere Aerosol. So we've had some major interest, but because it's a aerosol can and it's flammable,
right,
there are some shipping challenges, and there's some regulations going into other countries because of the chemicals and because it's flammable. So there's a lot of challenges. It's not just like shipping T-shirts or widgets around the world. There's a lot of challenges for it, but that's where we're going.
So I mean, I did a blog post about Atmosphere Aerosol when you guys first launched it, and or I think shortly thereafter maybe. Can you tell me, or for the folks that aren't familiar with it, what is it, how does it work, and why would you use it, where would you use it, and what kind of shoots would you use it on?
Sure. We use it, we carry it in our bag. We like to keep it in our bag at all times. If we're shooting a film and we feel like we want to make some light rays come through a window, or we just have a cookie. Not a cookie you eat, a cookie as in a cucolorous is what it's the technical term. And that's just like something you put in between the light and the fog, and it creates rays or a pattern on the wall. And so we use it at weddings. If it's a good sunny day and there's some light shining in a window, or it's hitting the back of the barn, we can spray it and make the light rays. Or even if you just want kind of a foggy haze look in the background, like you're in the woods and it's foggy, we've used it there as well. And in the woods is a great place to use it because the sun, if the sun's out, it's shining through all those trees. It makes shafts of light come through the trees as long as the wind's not too strong.
Yeah. But yeah, so Atmosphere Aerosol, it's instant fog in a can for photographers and filmmakers. So you want to tell them what it is? Yeah. But yeah, it's a spray can. I think we actually have one offset here. If one of our friends might grab one for us. But it's small enough that if it's in your camera bag, it's actually smaller than like a 7200 lens. So it fits right in your camera bag. You can take it along with you, and then you just spray it from the top right there. And one can, if you actually hold it down and spray it continuously, it'll spray for more than 5 minutes, and then it'll linger in the air. Based on the airflow in the wind. If you're indoors versus outdoors, if there's a air unit running and all that, but it'll linger for a really long time.
What are you getting shipments in one Knoxville area, or are you getting folks all over the U.S. that are excited about it? What's been the reaction to people as you've launched this?
Sure. Well, we've shipped currently. We've shipped all the way out to Hawaii and Alaska, and even down to Puerto Rico, because Puerto Rico is part of the non-contiguous United States. So we've shipped all the way out to there, and then I think we've hit almost all 50 states as well. There's a huge interest in California. A lot of our California folks really love it, and also too because the filmmaking industry, a lot of like Hollywood, LA, all of those folks, those filmmakers are really loving it too. So we got photographers, we got filmmakers, a lot of wedding photographers. So we're hitting all spectrums.
Yeah. When you came up with the idea, and you said that you experimented with different kinds of ways to make fog or dust and stuff. How far back does that go, that this kind of genesis of this creative aspect of your photography started? Because I've seen your portfolio, and there's some older stuff in there where you've got fog in the background.
We started talking about doing this almost 3 years ago, and we had to go through some prototypes.
But you were doing fog before that, right?
Definitely, yeah. We were using fog. I started doing films in 2000, 2001. So
I remember though, I think it was about 2009, we were doing an engagement session out in Maryville, and Joe was out there shooting. It was in the fall, and there was a landscaper guy on his lawnmower, and he was driving around kind of in the background mowing whatever was left of the grass, but I think he hit more dirt than grass. And you want to take it from there?
Yeah, that's probably where the spark happened, where I need to harness this somehow and take it with us into our camera bags. But yeah, that man on the lawnmower was creating this huge dust bowl, and the sun was just beaming through all those trees, and we were shooting an engagement session. I was just going nuts. It was awesome. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was great. And Joe, he was like, oh my gosh, we have to do more photos here and more photos there. And look at these light rays. Oh man. And so I think that's when the light bulb comes off on top of your head. Ding ding ding. That was it.
Yep.
What kind of gear do you guys shoot?
To me, the camera's a tool. I'm definitely not one to take care of my camera as well as I should. It's a tool, but it's also. It's just it's a means of capturing what we're seeing. I think I'm more of a light connoisseur, I guess you would say. I really love light and just the different ways it reacts with the leaves or this, or the way it shines through a window, or how you can light somebody Rembrandt and they look totally different if they're lit broad lit. Yeah,
some of the gear in our camera bag.
Yeah, some of the gear. We shoot Canon for weddings and Sony for films. And then we have, Kathleen shoots a mix of digital and film photography, so she shoots on the Contax 645 medium format. Yeah. So that's our bread and butter wedding camera right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many rolls do you go through in a wedding?
Yeah, well, so we call ourselves hybrid. So I'll shoot for a wedding around 15 rolls, and I shoot the medium format, so there's 16 shots per roll.
Right.
So anywhere about 15, give or take a few here or there. I know I see some photographers who are just film only, and they'll shoot like 50 rolls a wedding. But since I'm shooting a mix of digital and film, I'm shooting about 15, maybe a little more, maybe a little bit less. Yeah.
Cool. Now, you're talking about light and lighting. What's some of your go-to artificial lights? I mean, I know you like natural light, but what's some of your go-to artificial lights that you like to mix in with your creative lighting setups?
Definitely. For our photography, we use a lot of 600 EX flashes, the Canon, and we use mag modifiers a lot, and also Paul Buff. We like Paul Buff. He's right here in Tennessee, so we have some 600 Einsteins.
Okay.
Yeah. And then for the movies, it's all over the spectrum for the films.
All of
We've
the
got
RE
some
lights.
Kino flows, RE lights, HMI in the background, so we're all over whatever fits the job for a film. But
As wedding photographers, what kind of stuff out there in the industry is exciting to you, either gear-wise or trending style-wise? What are some of the things that you look at in the future and think that's some really exciting stuff?
anything for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, because I mainly shoot, medium format, there is a really big, small trend right now, but I think it's coming along the path, but the digital medium format, cameras. And so I'm a part of a group there, and I'm really starting to tune in and see, I think phase one has a lot of,
Camera body.
yeah, camera bodies, for that. So I'm really starting to tune into the digital medium format side of things for weddings. On the film side, just as long as Fuji and Kodak continue making their medium format film, we're all going to be happy. The prices have been going up and down and fluctuating, and Fuji was out last summer for like a little while, and now it's back. And so just as long as we keep that film going, that's what I'm really hoping that'll continue for there. And then, Joe, you can talk a little bit
for
about
me, it's just the way the technology is kind of meshing. You've got the filmmakers, and then the photographers are using each other's tools. The filmmakers are using the more portable tools like smaller lights and stuff, and then because they have cameras that are more capable, and now the wedding photographers are stealing from some of the filmmakers with their more powerful lights or their techniques for cookies and different light rays, making artificial sun and stuff like that. So the two worlds are kind of meshing, and it's really interesting time.
It's making wedding photography more cinematic.
Yes.
Yeah. So do you guys do any video work in weddings, or are you strictly stills?
Not personally. We do have in our company we have a videographer that shoots weddings for us.
Yeah. Now I'll shoot a little bit of Super 8 on the side as part of our film, just because of my love of film. And we offer some Super 8 packages, but I'll also bring my little Super 8 camera along with us sometimes, and I'll shoot a minute or two of Super 8 at all of the weddings. But that's more of the authentic vintage Super 8 film, and that's actually coming back. Kodak is going to be releasing that new Super 8 film camera. I am like so pumped about that. Yeah. And they even had like a Super 8 contest for like a short film, and so I think that's coming back too for the Super 8. And I think that they're making it so a lot of consumerists, not as much professional, but a lot of consumers, they're gonna really love that. Maybe Uncle Bob will get him another Super 8 camera and go out start shooting that too. So I'm really excited about that.
What, I guess, advice do you guys have to folks who are trying to get into wedding photography, or maybe they're into wedding photography, but they're struggling on the marketing side, or some mistakes that you see people making on a regular basis, coming from a marketer and a wedding photographer?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think one of the major things, and this happens over time. So whenever you first start to start shooting weddings, a lot of wedding photographers, they haven't found their niche or their style yet. And so they're kind of shooting at all types of different venues with all types of different brides, and the way that they're editing their photos changes, maybe once a week or every wedding or every month. So if you think about it, it's like you kind of start out here, and then as you continue shooting, you start narrowing the types of weddings that you want to shoot and the style that you want to shoot. So once you find that, once you get there, and it's a process, Certainly doesn't happen overnight. For us, it took, a couple of years even just for us to get to that area. But once you find that, and this is your target bride, this is exactly what you want to shoot and the types of places where you want to shoot, then it's like everything just falls into place. All the puzzle pieces come together, because then you start marketing and focusing everything for that bride, for that type of wedding. So for example, let's say you live in downtown Chicago and you're going to be a very urban wedding photographer. So as you shoot more urban weddings, you want to start showing those on your portfolio. You want to start showing those on your Facebook and your Instagram and all of the other social media areas where you're at. But let's say you're in California and you're very much a natural light photographer, outside on the beaches and the cliffs and how beautiful that is. Why would a California photographer want to post like something that's more urban, right? That just doesn't mix very well. Or like, let's say the Chicago urban photographer posts the Rocky Mountains with snow and all of that, right? So what you want to do is you just want to show what you want to shoot, and you want to keep that focused for your target bride and the types of weddings that you want to shoot. And as soon as you start doing that, then brides are going to notice that, and then that type of target bride is going to start contacting you, and the snowball starts happening. So I think at first you can think about, you're like pushing this big snowball up the hill, trying to find who you are and how you are. And then once you get to that point, then you kind of start going back down the hill. So the brides are coming to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I hope that really helps.
Yeah. Yeah, in finding those brides, getting those brides to come to you, what are some of the marketing avenues that you find most effective in today's wedding photography? Is it social media? Are we website? Are we the wedding expos? What are your thoughts on those, and what's effective for you and what you see effective for other wedding photographers?
Yeah, I think that there's three main areas. And one is word of mouth. So, it's kind of like a credit card. You can't get a credit card until you have a credit card, and it's like this catch-22 type thing. But if you get a bride who is your perfect bride at the perfect venue, hopefully her bridesmaids share very similar interests. And you've made a really good impression on those bridesmaids, and hopefully those bridesmaids will hopefully hire you, and then it'll be a very similar style, wedding with that target bride. So kind of word of mouth just spreads. I think that word of mouth is a very, very important way of growing your business. And as long as you cultivate those brides, as long as you love on those brides, and you want to shoot weddings that are that style, then hopefully with word of mouth, that's going to spread. Secondly, I think for new photographers, I know at least in our area here in Knoxville, there's multiple opportunities for bridal shows. And as an up-and-coming new photographer who may not have their name very well known in your area or your market, I think a bridal show, at least doing one, would be a good opportunity for you to get your name out and for you to get yourself in front of a high number of brides. Now, that doesn't mean you want to book every bride that comes to your booth, right? You're going to want to have a way to filter those brides to identify who your key bride is, and then that's who you really want to follow up with and have a meeting and talk to. But it's a really great way of getting massive exposure within just 2 to 4 hours at a bridal show. Then I think the third way is a very targeted advertising and social media. So all of the digital marketing. And that includes mainly, I think, Facebook and Instagram. And through Facebook and Instagram, you can actually target ads to females within a certain age group. So let's say, 25 to 32 years old, who live in a specific city and who are engaged. So you can actually create ads that directly show up in the news feeds of females aged 25 to 32, engaged within 10 miles of your city, and you can specifically focus your marketing dollars in that area. So let's say, for example, I had a $100 marketing budget today. I would definitely do Facebook and Instagram ads to target those people, as opposed to doing other things getting a print ad in a magazine. That's the lowest ROI. It's been tested that print ads are the lowest ROI. So focus on digital marketing. get yourself into a bridal show if you can, and love on your target brides so they'll spread the word about you. And I think those 3 areas are really going to help your business get off and running. Now, that doesn't happen overnight by any means, okay? You have to put some work into this. It could take months. It could take a whole wedding season before you get on the radar of those bridesmaids who are getting married the next year. But as long as you're going on the right track, you're going to get the right brides, and it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So
Yeah.
hopefully that helps.
What about pricing? And maybe not limited to weddings, but pricing your work and the value of your work, and then when and when not to do free work or work for free for either charity or for a friend or anywhere in between.
Sure. Pricing, that is like the biggest question. It's like the biggest topic, I think, in every Facebook group. Do you want to talk a little bit about pricing, Joe?
You're the marketing guru.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So pricing and packages, it's huge. I think that it very much depends on what market you're in. Okay. We're in Tennessee. The cost of living here is a lot different than New York City, than Los Angeles, than Austin, Texas, potentially, okay? So based on your market and your cost of living, then, I think that'll help you get an idea about pricing, okay? Also, too, there's a big discussion about photographers who do unlimited wedding day packages, okay? Unlimited hours. So potentially you could be up at 8 a.m. in the morning when the bride and the bridesmaids start hair and makeup, and you could be working until, midnight that night at the reception. I think one thing is that you want to avoid unlimited packages, because then you're not necessarily putting an exact number on your hours and how much money you're getting paid per hour. So keep your packages to like an 8-hour package, or like a 10-hour package, or maybe a 12-hour package if you live in an area that's really spread out, for example. So you want to keep it within a box, right? Keep it within a parameter. You want to keep it within your market area based on cost of living. And then there are a lot of other things. There's 2 ways of pricing. I think one way is basically just you shoot, and then the bride gets all of the edited photos from the day on a USB, for example. And then there are other packages where the bride purchases the USB, or might purchase albums, purchase prints, more of an a la carte style package. So I think based on your workflow and what works best for you and your revenue system, you can go one direction or you can go the other. But I think being very clear with brides, making sure that your time is respected and valued, and keeping a box around it and keeping the parameters there, I think that'll really help guide you as you go along the pricing structure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that helps.
Now, what about free work? Do you guys do free work? Do you guys do charity work? Where do you draw the line on that, and how do you determine how much you do, if you do any?
Yeah, well, we have to keep our creative juices flowing. And so a lot of times we do, photo shoots to keep our creative juices flowing that are our personal portfolios, all of our portfolio material. And those are all free shoots. A lot of people do styled shoots, for example. Those are free. You get a model in a dress and flowers and, however much you want, to do that. So go ahead.
Yeah. We usually pay the vendors. It usually helps. Everybody knows they're getting, they're working for a little something at least. If they'll take it. But we like to pay our vendors for their styled shoots just because
it's their time too.
It's their time too, and they should be paid. If they have expendables, a lot of florists have expendables with flowers and everything, so they should be paid for those. However, where was I going with this?
But yeah, I think doing, free shoots for your portfolio and to keep your creative juices flowing, it's totally worth it.
Oh yeah, and the charity work. If it's in our schedule, we'd love to do charity work, but it just has to align with our schedule pretty much.
Do you get friends, family, or other acquaintances that come and ask, hey, can you guys just do this for... Do you experience that, and how do you deal with that?
Yes, that's our most difficult situation. Yeah. Of course we want to shoot our friends' weddings. Of course we want them to have great photos and be a part of the day too. But it can really be difficult to shoot a friend's wedding because more than likely you're going to know the family, you're going to know all the friends there, and they're going to be talking to you during the weddings.
It's very distracting.
It's very distracting, and if I'm trying to do my job the best I can do, then I don't need Uncle Bob, talking to me about his Chevelle or, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of photographers who don't do work for friends and family. And they just draw the line, and it just keeps it very clean. And that's a really great way to do work. Keep it very, very, clean. And there's a lot of great photographers that we can refer to our friends and say, look, this guy is fabulous, or this girl, she's great. I think that you should do that. And then you know what? We might even attend a wedding as a guest one day. Isn't that exciting? But we have had. As we first started out, we did do some weddings for friends. And for example, I would be shooting at the reception and I'd turn around and be like, where's Joe? Where's he at? Well, he's across the room because, Judy from 20 years ago had her great grandbaby there and she wanted pictures of him and so, but they're over here cutting the cake and I'm wondering where Joe is. So it's really hard to balance that. So finally we just decided, look, for the betterment of the couple and for the betterment of our services, we just want to, refer friends to our great photography friends, to be able to be a part of their weddings.
Well, is there anything else that you guys want to talk about or promote? Where can people reach you, and where can they find Atmosphere Aerosol?
Sure. Yeah. Well, so on the Joe Photo side of things, we have our website, we have our blog, we're on pretty much all the major social media, Facebook, Twitter. So it's Joe Photo, it's JOPHOTO. So sometimes people think it's JOE, but it's Joe Photo. So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of those wonderful things. Atmosphere Aerosol, you can go to our website. It's just atmosphereaerosol.com. They can purchase the cans of Atmosphere Aerosol there. And so we can ship currently within the United States, and hopefully soon we'll be reaching out a little bit further. But we're also on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We have a lot of our demo videos there. So pretty much any social media you can find us across the board.
Yeah. We've also been contacted by almost all the retailers nationwide. So hopefully we'll be getting it locally, so you won't have to pay those shipping costs.
Okay.
I know we have some now at Able Cine in Burbank.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
How much does a can cost, and how many cans are people usually buying that they find?
Sure. Yeah. So one can is $11.95, and usually photographers are buying about 2 cans. Filmmakers are buying 3 to 6 cans. We also have a deal on our website where you can buy a case, which a case is 12 cans. You get 10% off of the case, plus you get free shipping. So it's a really good deal if you think that you're going to be using it throughout the year. So you can stock up now and use it for the rest of the year.
Okay, cool.